Today, I'm going to be taking you through my top 3 most underrated pieces of home gym equipment, whether you have them available or not. I'm going to be taking you through the basic setup, the basic exercises and what you can do with those pieces of equipment, but then also different exercises that you can do with those same pieces of equipment, which means that your arsenal of exercises suddenly will just become open. So the first exercise that we're going to go into and the first piece of equipment is a hip thrust bench. Now, these are great, and as the name implies, they're for hip thrusts. So we're going to be taking you through a barbell hip thrust really quickly. So first of all I'm going to do, I've got my hip thrust plates on here, I've got my MiraFit pad on here, I've got a good barbell, and all I'm going to do is just roll that bar all the way out to my hip, make sure that that hip thrust bench is just set about my shoulder blades, but I can adjust it depending on what feels good to me. So the basic hip thrust is all I'm going to do is initiate by squeezing my butt cheeks, drive my hip up towards the roof, squeeze my butt hard, keep my ribs down, chin down at the top, squeeze my glutes hard, and then just return as far down as you want to. You can also just kind of work in that top position if you want to. There's various ways you can perform a barbell hip thrust. There are other uses to the hip thrust pad that you might not know outside of the actual hip thrust itself. So I'm just going to take you into those right now. So first up, we can use our hip thrust bench for support. So as a way to improve balance, if balance is an issue, or we don't want to have or be training balance actually within that pattern, but still want to be working, say, one leg at a time. So a few examples might be a supported single leg deadlift. So all you need to do is just put your hip thrust pad on the side, your hip thrust bench on the side. You've then got something nice and sturdy you can put one hand against. So it's not there to help, but you can take yourself into that supported single leg deadlift with a lot more balance as compared to that position there. We can also do like supported split squats. So again, it just provides that extra way to be more balanced because of the support and stability that it actually provides to it. Another one we can do is use our hip thrust bench for preacher curls. So all I've done here is I've placed my hip thrust bench on top of my flat bench, and then all I'm going to do is get all the way over it. It's just like a steep kind of preacher curl. And there, I'm in a nice supportive position. My elbows are driven against that pad, and I can really focus on isolating my biceps. So there you go, a preacher curl using the hip thrust bench. You can also use your hip thrust bench for abduction focus exercises. So for example, sat on it, you can put a mini band, a resistance band below your knees or above your knees, whatever feels comfortable to you. Take your feet as wide as you want to, hands on your hips, let your knees collapse in, and then drive your knees, abducting your hips, drive your knees out. So that's one option there. You can also do what I call band cha-chas. So you can flip it up, and all you need to do is use that again, a little bit like support. Just bend over a little bit, stick your butt back, and you're just going to take your foot out diagonally and out behind, okay? So really push your knee, tap your toe, push your knee, tap your toe. So the supported leg, the leg that's not moving, I'm really firing that glute as well as a stabilizer, as well as on the other side, just to get my knee out towards the side. So you've also got various abduction exercises that you can do with your hip thrust bench as well. So plenty of options to train your glutes as well as the rest of your body. Next up, we have the landmine. Now the landmine is probably my number 1 most rated pieces of home gym equipment if you don't already have one. And there's so many exercises, so many options that you can do with a landmine. You can get various different styles of landmine units. The one we're using here today is nice and portable. All you need to do is kind of put your plate into it and it sits there nicely. You can also get ones that attach to your rack. They're really useful as well as ones that actually go on the floor and you have in the corner of your room or in your garage or whatever. There's so many kind of different styles out there, but they're kind of the 3 main ones. So I'm going to be just taking you into just a couple of kind of standard exercises that we see people perform most of the time. So We've got a landmine squat. Now, a landmine squat is very much like a goblet squat, like you might do with a dumbbell or a kettlebell, but people do actually find a landmine squat to be a little bit more comfortable and a little bit of an easier way to start loading, because obviously you can add small plates as you progress to this one as well. You've also got the added advantage in that the load, you're driving slightly forwards. So as opposed to more of a vertical kind of squat, you're coming slightly forwards, which for sports like, for example, rugby or anything where you're producing force horizontally, so sprinting, so most sports, it's really useful for that to provide that kind of force vector for kind of going forwards as well versus a traditional squat. So here, slightly leaning forwards, nice and deep, drive my knees out, and then driving that just very slightly forwards. Another great exercise to do with these is a landmine Romanian deadlift. So again, facing the landmine, you can kind of intertwine your fingers underneath, step nice and close, feet facing forwards, elbows tight by your sides, push your hips back, so kind of like closing the door behind you with your butt, and then drive your hips through. So a landmine Romanian deadlift is another great option. Another great single leg training option can be, for example, a shouldered lunge, or as I call them. So you can actually put that landmine on your shoulder. You can even kind of use a pad there just to help with the with how it just feels on your shoulder. You can hold there, whatever, and then just stepping back into that nice deep lunge. So again, there's another lower body training option. Then we go upper body options. So upper body, we can do shoulder presses or kind of push press kind of positions. Again, really great for that horizontal force production. Think about you playing rugby, a handoff or something. Think about a boxer in that position as well. So really good kind of sport specific work as well. So there's so many options that you can play about with your landmine, and those kind of level up again when you get all the attachments that are involved as well. There's so many things you can play about with that one. If you don't have one, you really need to get yourself one. So our final piece of equipment is a dipping belt. Now, there's more that you can do with these than just dips and pull-ups, although we're going to take you into a few dip and pull-up variations. First off, I'm going to take you through 3 different styles of dips. First off is your standard dip, which is more kind of triceps dominant. And with that, the main thing being that you're going to keep your torso completely upright. You can bend your knees if you want to, but you're going to keep your torso completely upright. You're going to allow your elbows to come behind you, chin stays up, then drive up to the top. So that's basic triceps dip, and obviously this allows me to add load, improve strength and progress over a number of weeks versus just using my body weight alone. Or what some people do is try and have a dumbbell hooked between their knees. So second off, chest dips. So these are just simply a more leaning forwards version. So these are more for lower chest. So I'll start at the top, cross my feet over, lean forwards, lean with my chin. So my chest is pointing more towards the floor. Elbows are allowed to flare a little bit more. And then again, drive back up to that top. Third style I want to show you, we call it a Meadows dip. This is a very kind of chest dominant dip as well. And it's basically a chest dominant dip where you have your legs completely straight. So we start at the top, our feet are together and slightly forwards. We lean with our chin and our chest, nice and deep, allow our elbows to flare and squeeze our chest as hard as we can at the top. So there are 3 versions of dips that you can try. Chin-ups, pull-ups, okay? So a chin-up is, as the name says, a chin-up is anything where your chin goes over the bar. A pull-up doesn't necessarily have to be full range of motion and chin over the bar. So we can have our basic underhand grip chin-up. So again, the actual dipping belt provides load in that position there. We can go with a narrow, for example, overhand grip, which is a really great kind of biceps builder and forearms builder. Or we can hit our back a little bit more and go with a wider variation if you want to. So as well as dips and chins and pull-ups, there are also some other things you can do with your dipping belt that you might not have thought of. Your dipping belt can also be used for lower body exercises. So for example, if you don't have a belt squat machine, and let's be honest, most of us don't or don't have access to one in a gym, definitely not in our home gym unless you're super lucky, then you can use them for these, okay? So all we've got here is a kettlebell, and you can load these until the cows come home. You can chuck as many kettlebells on as you can fit there. You can also use plates, although plates might limit your range of motion. I'm stood on 2 boxes here. You can stand on benches, you can stand on some risers or something if you want to. And all I'm gonna do is take myself into a nice deep squat with my hands out and then drive through my heels back up to the top. So unlike, for example, barbell back squats, you'd use a belt squat like this so that you don't have as much kind of axial load coming through your spine. It's a good kind of spine saver. So if you're trying to not put as much load through there because you might be injured, or just in the context of the rest of your program, you're putting a lot of load there, then belt squat variations are a good option. And you can definitely do it with one of these if you don't have access to an actual belt squat. 3 pieces of equipment that you may or may not have in your home gym, and we've just gone through endless variations that you can do with them. Hopefully we've kind of opened up your world to the possibilities of the actual exercises that you can perform with them, and you'll give some of the exercises a go that we talked you through today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe.